Welcome back everyone, and today I'm working on a Sympathy card, and I start off by using my Ranger's black archival ink, and I'm using a Misty tool to help me position my stamp, and I restamp it a couple of times till I get the intensity of colour that I want from my stamp. I then go in with my anti-static powder, and I use this powder so that my embossing powder doesn't stick to my paper and it only sticks to the areas where I will put the embossing ink. I then use Versamark inks and I re-stamp my stamp with the Versamark ink, and I apply some clear embossing powder over the top of that. I then melt the embossing powder with the heat gun. I'm going to use the Dina Wakley gel medium as a protection on my paper because I didn't use watercolour cardstock, and this will just protect my paper once I add all the water to it. I will be using the Faber-Castell watercolour pencils on this card, and I buy my pencils from Officeworks. I absolutely love the fact that I can just buy the colours that I want, one pencil at a time. To apply water to my paper, I will use a watercolour brush, and inside that pen or brush, it actually holds water in, and I just go around and I apply water to the flowers so that it's all primed and ready to go for me to add my pencil. I'm not very good at colouring in, so I won't bore you with the whole process of me colouring in this stamped image, and I might show you bits and pieces and then move to the end result. Wow, it's been a while since I've used my cuddle bug. And what did I do here? I used the embossing folder from Kaiser Craft that was called Gilded Frame. You'll soon see me playing with different placements for this card and how I want to put it all together. I love that lace. I bought it at Fantasia at their closing down sale, and I think it's what brings this whole card together. I just love that lace. And I just used a very narrow double-sided tape that I had to adhere the lace down. And this is where I make my mistake. I decided that I wanted to add some perfect pearls, so I added it over the my already stamped image, and obviously you can't see the deeper sympathy as much. So I go back, I get my Misty, I use some embossing ink, and I add some perfect pearls. Then I get my stamp and re-stamp it, and the stamp just says Deeper Sympathy. And I quite like how it looks with that shimmery pearlescent look. And back to putting my card together again. I love that. I get some foam that I picked up at a junk store in Windsor, and I start putting it all together. I will admit that I nearly gave up on this card. I think it was because those flowers were just so busy. But once I found the embossing folder from Kaiser Craft, it all came together quite nicely. And I'm now just framing, I'm matting it, I should say, not framing. I'm matting it on some lilac paper that I found in my stash. And I just love how it looks. I'm using my score power to score my card and give it a nice crisp finish when I fold it all over. And I'll say it again, I love how this card came together. And I just use double-sided tape to adhere everything, and it's almost done. And this card could easily be a birthday card or a thank you card. It could be anything that you wanted it to be. And yes, this is where I was showing you that the stamps I used are from Eclectic Images. They're an Australian-owned company, and I will link their email address or website, I should say, down below. This is the end of the video, and thank you to everyone who's watched, to all my subscribers, and if you like this card, please give it a thumbs up.